This video is for entertainment purposes only. It is not intended as financial advice. Consult with a qualified financial advisor before making any investment decisions. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Hope you're all doing well. This is season 2, episode number 3 of my Roth IRA series, and today I'm going to share my week 3 results and how my portfolio is generating a 27% yield. I'll start off by briefly talking about the distributions and income I've made in January so far. Next, I'll talk about the weekly paid distributions coming out on Friday. And finally, I'll share some Roth IRA information on beneficiaries and how you can actually give your Roth IRA to another person if you pass away. Okay, so let's start by talking about dividends and distributions. If you're new to my channel, I have 3 holdings in my Roth IRA. 2 of them are high yield income ETFs, and I'm using them to generate income within the portfolio to help me buy more shares of my core holding, which is a broad market ETF called SCHB. Looking at my first 3 distributions of the year, I received a total of about $282. The next distribution is scheduled for January 28th. Now, if we take a quick look at some of the distributions, you can see that they fluctuate every week. And that's because the underlier, which is Robinhood, is sort of a high beta name. So anytime there's negative news in the market or something weird happening in the crypto space, you'll see that the distributions from HOW will be affected. Now, if we move on to my newest holding, QDTE, I received a total of about 2 distributions, and the next distribution is scheduled in the next 24 to 36 hours, and the final distribution is coming out on January 30th. Now, if we look at the distributions and compare it to HOW, you can see that QDTE's distributions are not that high. But because QDTE runs covered call option plays on an index, it's a little bit safer and more consistent than HOW's distribution. So during a choppy market, QDTE might be a little bit more reliable and might not explode like HOW. So that's one of the reasons why I have something like QDTE in this portfolio. Now, if you look at the portfolio value, it's currently around $18,291. And from this, I'm able to generate about $6,330 or 27%. Now, of course, this is just an estimate or a forecast because HOW's distributions do fluctuate. So if we look at the monthly average, if the distributions are below average, this would probably be closer to $400 per month. But if it's around the average or higher, then it'll be closer to $500. And then I'll hit that $6,300 mark. But that's pretty good considering that I'm making about $6,000 from only $18,000. Now, I'm not trying to become a millionaire in this Roth IRA, or I'm not trying to reach a 50 or 60 or 70% yield portfolio. I just want to make enough to help me add a few more shares to SCHB. Okay, so if you missed the last few videos, my first goal for 2026 is to achieve or accumulate 150 shares of QDTE. Now, last week I had 75 shares. I was able to purchase 5 more shares with distributions from HOW and QDTE, and now I have a total of about 80 shares or 53% of my goal. From my distributions, it seems like I'm going to be able to buy about 5 to 6 shares per week. Okay, so let's switch gears and talk about the distribution announcement for the weekly payers on Friday. The pay date is on January 23rd, which is this coming Friday. And if we look at the distribution amounts for XDTE and QDTE, they're still below average at around 16 to 17 cents per share. Now, RDTE is usually the winner, but when we look at its distribution for this week, it's actually above 20 cents again. So this is closer to its average, and I'm happy that RDTE is doing pretty well. I hope XDTE and QDTE can get above their 20-cent average sometime in the next few weeks, but we'll see. Okay, so that was just a quick update for my Roth IRA portfolio. Now let's take a different path and look at some Roth IRA information because I am still learning a lot about this Roth IRA pathway, but I like to share some information and anything that I learn along the way. Now, again, I'm not a tax advisor or a financial professional. I just want to share what I've learned. Now, last week, if you missed that video, I talked about the 2026 Roth IRA contribution limits. So if you missed that video, definitely check that out. I think I gave some pretty good valuable information at the end of the video. But for this week's video, I'm going to talk about the inherited IRA rules. And that means that if you pass away, your Roth IRA can actually be inherited by either your spouse, children, heirs, or charity or estate, actually. Now, in these four main types of beneficiaries, there are nuanced subcategories. Too much to talk about in this video, but I'll try to talk a little bit about the spouse and the heir type of beneficiaries because for me, those are a little bit more straightforward. Okay, so let's talk about the spouse beneficiaries for 2026. Now, this to me is the easiest and most straightforward, and it's actually the most powerful type of beneficiary. So, this is considered powerful because of two reasons. Now, if you're receiving a Roth IRA from your partner, you can actually roll over that Roth IRA into your own account and treat it as your own Roth IRA. You can't do that as any other type of beneficiary. So, the best type of inherited Roth IRA is one you receive from your partner or your spouse. Now, the second reason why this is important is because it has more flexible options for withdrawal. Now, if you're a spouse beneficiary, you can actually hold the Roth IRA for as long as you live. And there are some nuances or restrictions to that. But generally, if you're the surviving spouse and you receive the Roth IRA, then you can have it for more than 10 years. And if you hear my voice crackling, it's because I'm battling a flu. So my voice sounds a little scratchy. I apologize. Now, the second type of beneficiary is called a non spouse beneficiary. And there are many subcategories like children, siblings, and heirs. I'm just going to talk about heirs because the other two subtopics are a little bit more complicated and have a lot of nuances. But I figured this might fit in a lot of people's profile because not a lot of people are getting married these days, but a lot of people do have partners, like longtime girlfriends or boyfriends. So this might apply to those people. Now, if you are a partner, a non married partner, you are considered a non eligible designated beneficiary, otherwise known as a non EDB. Now, if you're a non EDB, we must apply two things. The first thing is the 10-year rule. Now, remember, if you're a spouse, you don't have this 10-year rule, okay? So this is the major restriction. And the 10-year rule means that you need to take out all of the money in the Roth IRA within 10 years. Whereas if you're a spouse, you can have it forever. Well, there are some restrictions to that, but you can have it longer than 10 years. And if you do apply the 10-year rule, then you also have to apply the RBD rule. So RBD stands for required beginning date. And essentially, this refers to when the original holder of the Roth IRA passed away. So if they died before 73, that means the recipient or the person who inherits the Roth IRA doesn't have to follow the RMD schedule. But if the original holder died after 73, then the recipient of the inherited Roth IRA must follow the RMD schedule. And for those of you who are asking, RMD stands for required minimum distribution. And that just means the amount that you have to take out every year. So, for example, if they died before 73, then the recipient is not required to take out money in years 1 to 9. Now, why is that important? Well, if you don't have to take out money in those years, you can let it continue to compound tax-free before you can take it out in year 10. But If the original holder died after 73, then the recipient is required to take out the money in years 1 to 9. Now, that means they have less time to compound, and every time they take out the money, it may create a taxable event. Again, I can't tell you more information about that because it really depends on your tax situation, and everyone's tax situation is individual or unique. Okay, so let me give you some examples just to help you understand this, because this is what helped me understand it. Now, if we look at the girlfriend example number one, let's say David is 60 and he leaves his Roth IRA to his girlfriend Sarah, who is 45. Now, David died at 70, which is before his RBD. Because David died before 73, that means Sarah, who's the recipient of the Roth IRA, she does not have to take money out in years 1 to 9. She can let it grow and take it all in year 10. Now, she'll pay more taxes, but she'll have more time to compound that money in those 9 years tax free. So I think this is probably better for most people. Now, if I give you girlfriend example number two, imagine now David is actually older and he passed away at 78, and Sarah is still 45. And David died at 78, which is after his RBD. He died after 73. Because of this, Sarah must take out the money or whatever the RMD is in years 1 to 9. She cannot let it grow and take it all out in year 10. So that's kind of disadvantage. Now, both situations, they can both do a lump sum, and this might make more sense depending on how old the recipient is. And maybe if they're in a foreign country and it's just harder to deal with this every year. So if your, let's say, partner is not American and maybe their English is not that great, maybe the lump sum is the easiest way to go. But again, I'm not an advisor or a professional in this space. This is just something that I've been doing more research as I learn more about the Roth IRA. Now, if you're still kind of not clear about some of the rules, don't worry, because I'm sometimes I'm not clear too. But from what I understand is in the first example, let's say you're a spouse or maybe a sibling, you can inherit the Roth and you can have it for potentially more than 10 years. So this is the most flexible option. And remember, the spouse is the most powerful form of the inherited Roth IRA. Now, in the second version, you can have it for only 10 years, but your withdrawal options are somewhat flexible. You don't have to take it out each year. You can let it compound more tax free. And in version number three, you still have the 10 years, but you must take out money every year. So it's not as flexible as option one and two. So I hope that's easier to understand from those examples. Okay, so that was episode number three. Sorry for my scratchy voice. I'm still battling this flu and my voice hasn't been really good the last few days. That's why I couldn't post this video earlier because my voice was really bad. But I hope you got some value out of this video. I think the Roth IRA is just such a powerful tool for those people who not only want to retire, but maybe want to pass their Roth IRA to someone that they care about. And there's even more options than that. So I'm hoping to post a little bit about all the Roth IRA options at the end of, every Roth IRA video that I post, but we'll see about that. If you're interested, I also make other videos about, achieving financial freedom, living in Asia, and just finding peace in retirement. So if that appeals to you, please like this video and subscribe to watch more free content on achieving financial freedom and living in Asia. Thank you for watching this video. You might also like these videos too. Take care and see you in the next video.